Hi, I'm Frank from California. This episode of Sci-gasm podcast is made possible by patrons like myself. To become a patron, head over to patreon.com/Sci-gasm podcast, and you too can get a shout out on the show. Enjoy the episode.
Oh man, I can't believe my wife let us do this. This is so cool.
I'm really excited.
I know. Scary night.
Scary night.
She said she's not coming back for 3 days and she's a little bit mad, but she'll get over it.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
And then she realised that the dripping noise wasn't the tap, but the dog's head.
Found out that the call wasn't coming from down the street. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh my god. Where after thousands and thousands of research papers were analysed, they found that the safe level of alcohol consumption was none.
Oh my god, I don't want to do this anymore.
You know how hard this was to research and try and sound genuinely like I was doing work? I don't want how this is
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, mate. Oh, should we be cheersing? I don't know.
I don't know, we maybe should.
I don't know. I like to live dangerously. Watch this.
Okay, so how are we, mate? How are you?
I'm a little bit devastated, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that study did shock me.
Yeah, I know.
All these positive studies you hear about, like 2 glasses of wine
let's not do a spoiler alert here. Let's
I don't want to steal your thunder. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Don't come in and do your bloody shit episodes. Well, recycling is important.
That's right. I would like to do an episode on business and law's influence on science. Wait, last episode.
Dicks and Nickelback.
And today we're talking about alcohol. Don't they call that the holy trifecta? Dicks, Nickelback, and alcohol?
That's true. That's true. That would appeal to a lot of people. I somehow think I'm more appealing to like the redneck kind of realm of people. You're more appealing to like the intellectual kind of side of things.
Oh, that's a sad collection of intellectuals.
But yes, how you been, man? What's been going on?
Not much. Just doing my thing, rolling with it. Had my daughter's birthday on the weekend.
Oh, yes.
You were there. You would know.
I was there. It was fucking wild.
Look out.
She vomited, passed out, went for a nap. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's right. 3 hours down she was.
3 hours down.
Then Lazarus later and decided to stay up till 9.
That's it. That's the problem with, those birthdays is the birthday girl or boy, they just hit it too hard.
She hit it way too hard. Did you enjoy the whole put the horn on the unicorn activity?
Oh, you mean put the dick on the unicorn?
I thought, all right, kids, let's walk away now.
Uncle Wade's going to have a moment alone.
Uncle Wade's ruined the game.
And he smells funny. So I thought, on the basis of your daughter's first birthday, I would have a look at drinking.
Hey, good. I'm glad my discussions with you have finally come through.
So, for our listeners who haven't heard, there was a study that's recently come out, a very large study actually, that's kind of looked at the long-term effects of drinking. Now, it goes against what we are led to believe in some aspects of drinking, in the sense that you can have, a glass of wine a day and it's good for you. Certain chemicals do certain things to your heart and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, you often hear that on the news. A glass of wine is good for you. I noticed the news hasn't been reporting on this one as much.
No, people don't want to hear what they don't like. That's the problem. So, pretty much to put it down to kind of what we knew before the study, what we thought we knew, was that having a couple of drinks a night, so a couple of glasses of red wine or something like that, is good for your heart and things like that. But even back then, like before this study, the scientists were saying, well, it really depends on, where the research is coming from, because you have to take into account what different countries consider standard drinks and things like that.
It's true. Fill your glass up to the rim, like, I'm just having my standard drink. It's good for your heart.
Yeah. Exactly, like
terrible for the liver.
Like you have a look even at that long neck I'm drinking now, and it's actually 1.9, which actually isn't too bad. 1.9 standard drinks. That means in Australian standards 1.9. So I'd be drinking, once I finish that, I'll have 2 drinks. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
I class it as one.
I've only had one, officer.
Yeah, what would that be? Is that like an ounce in the US? What is it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a big...
If there are any Americans who want to let us know the conversion, or drug dealers in Australia would like to let us know the conversion between grams and ounces, that would be handy. Yeah.
So everyone thought that, that was healthy, but the research was kind of mixed because they looked at it and said, okay, these chemicals are good for your heart. However, long term, if you keep doing this, then the long-term aspects of things really kind of weigh it down. And there's some really good conversation articles on it, like, a lot of our information, stuff like that, we obtained through the Conversation website, which is great. Academics write on it. So I recommend if you're looking up something, go to the Conversation.
At this point, I'd like to stress we don't actually get paid by the Conversation.
No, nor do we get paid by them, but they're a fantastic, reliable source of information. So anyway, if you have a look at it, then the studies are still kind of like prior to this big study, like our understanding of drinking's great, it helps this and that, but only drink small amounts. Well, long term, it actually is detrimental to a person to do so.
What about short term in their dancing ability? Because I'm pretty sure it helps mine out.
It gives the perception of you being able to dance. You just look like Hanson, just going for it on the D floor.
Some bopping.
Yes, some serious bopping. So, a bit about this study I'd like to go into, and as well I'd like to hear your thoughts on it.
All right.
Well, I wouldn't like to, but I know I have to. So this study was actually funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Oh, yeah, Bill would be against drinking. God, he's a geek.
I know. If he's not vaccinating everyone, he's ruining our parties.
Yeah, I know. Steve Jobs, he'd be an animal. I can see him being a partying.
Yeah. And how did it work out for Steve?
Yeah, that's right.
So the study, to give you an idea of the scope of this study that was conducted. The study used over 694 individual and population studies and another 592 prospective studies and retrospective studies. Now,
so this was like a really big meta-analysis.
This is a huge meta-analysis.
Wow, okay.
And, by the way, it took place in, I believe, what was over 195 locations.
Okay, what do you mean by locations? Is that like countries or specific...
Yeah, different parts of the world. Obviously, you can't go to every single country. There's not, there's more than 195 countries, but they went to all different parts of the world. I think having a look at, what the research in those areas said.
Okay, so you could say like there were 3 locations in Australia for like Brisbane, Melbourne, Perth, something like that.
The actual in-depth locations of it, I don't know because there's 195 of them. I could not be fucked looking that up. I do not get paid enough to look that up. But the thing is, just to go back to the prospective and retrospective study. So the difference between a prospective study is that it watches for outcomes. So it monitors people and goes, okay, you drink this amount. Okay, you have got that now. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. And they might say, oh, no, you got nothing. Now, a retrospective study looks at the outcome and then works backwards. So, you've got, say, liver disease or you've got this form of cancer. Did you drink a lot?
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I did. Okay, well, we can probably link it to that.
Is one of those studies you think better than the other one, or...?
Well, I guess when you're monitoring someone for outcomes, you have a much more better understanding of the variables that influence that person's life, as opposed to a retrospective study where you're working backwards, but the same...
Is that a questionnaire, the retrospective, I suppose? And people are notoriously bad at filling questionnaires about themselves.
Well, as we spoke about in the penis episode, when you get people to analyse themselves, they tend to lie.
That's right. Jumping up the dick size, they're probably talking down the amount of drinks they consume as well.
Yeah. Unless it's to their mates and they're telling everyone. That guy that plays like, oh, dude, I'm so wasted.
Yeah, I had about 1 million.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it really depends, and I guess with those type of things, you're not really monitoring the person as they go, and watch for outcomes and things like that. So it's more up to that person's personal perception of themselves and how they behaved and their lifestyle. Which, I think most people would say that, I live a pretty healthy lifestyle, whether they do or they don't.
Yeah, okay.
So it gathered some data as well. So the prevalency of drinkers. So then they went by percentage of the sample population of how many people they estimated in that country were drinkers. For both male and female, Australia just smoked it in.
Yeah.
Woohoo. We're gonna
Australia. Top in the world in liver disease and melanoma.
yeah. If we're not drinking ourselves to oblivion, we're not putting on sunscreen. But the thing is as well, the thing we have to remember is that if there's any kind of illnesses or anything like that, our kids pay for it.
Yeah, okay, true.
You know, the future generations pay for our good time.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, I'm old, I can't afford it.
Was you heard that saying? Drinking is like borrowing happiness from tomorrow.
That's a good one. I like it. South America, like countries like Brazil, were kind of heavy drinkers, 80 to like 100% there as well. And parts of Western Europe as well, 80 to 100%. You find that like the Northern African kind of regions, they don't drink very much.
It's a high Muslim population around there.
Yes,
Though, so.
I believe, because of religious reasons, you would assume. And also as well, it varied between, you know, males and females. What kind of is a cultural thing for females to drink?
So it's Australia, Western Europe, and Brazil are really the ones who are hitting it.
Yeah, we're hitting
probably
it
beer, isn't it? It's definitely beer down here.
There's different, there's national drinks in like Brazil and things like that as well that they love. Is it like I can't remember. There's a national drink they got there, which
Ayahuasca.
It's like a rummy kind of drink. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. But so going back to the study. The measures that the study took. So this, once again, like this is a really kind of detailed study. So I would really hope the results are taken seriously by, you know, governments and things like that. So it accounted for alcohol sales by tourists and non-drinkers. So what that means is that someone passing through a town may buy some drinks or something like that, not actually from that area, or, you know, if someone from overseas might come
You definitely hit it harder when you're a tourist as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're out to party and stuff like that. So that can actually influence your results. The different kind of statistical analysis methods were used that were recommended by previous studies. So they really didn't have enough data until this study came along to actually link it, saying, you know, other studies in the past are saying, you know, I'd like to see this statistical analysis that will give us a better idea, and this is what this study did. So this study really addressed gaps in the literature and kind of brought it all together. And also non-drinkers. And what I mean by why would a non-drinker buy alcohol? Well, someone who has a party and buys a bottle of scotch or something like that just sits there. So also as well, this kind of new meta-analysis that accounted for 23 health impacts from alcohol consumption. So it actually looked at 23 different health impacts. So not just saying, oh, do you have liver disease? Do you have this? It actually accounted for a variety of different health impacts. So things like, you know, even like tuberculosis and stuff like that can actually come from actual drinking. So
really? It just smashes up your immune system or something?
Yeah, it smashes up your immune system. And there's a link, but the studies in the past, before this one, have actually shown that there's a link there.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So, what did the study find? That's what we're all here, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're here having a beer.
Should I finish my beer before you give me the results? I'm getting nervous.
Yeah, right. We'll have another sip. All right. So, what did the study find? Okay. Alcohol is the 7th leading risk factor for both death and disability adjusted life years. So what that means is something may cause you to have a disability, which then, by having that disability, shortens your lifespan.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't drink too much alcohol and you die. It's like, no, you've drunk yourself, you've drunk too much alcohol, it's caused this problem.
You've got diabetes, something like that.
You've got something which will shorten your lifespan.
Okay.
All right. So alcohol. So the kind of alcohol.
I assume smoking's probably up above it.
Yeah,
one of those risk factors.
Well, it depends on how many people smoke, I guess. I didn't actually look at smoking because this episode's on alcohol.
Well, you said there was like number 7.
So it counted for kind of alcohol-related illnesses and death. So alcohol-related things, I guess you'd say. 2.2% of deaths in females and 6.8% of deaths in males. Now,
wow, that's quite a significant.
As a whole. Yeah, that's as a whole. Now, keep in mind that the distribution of age, comes into play as well. So, from 15 to 49 years, females, 3.8%, and in males, 8.9%, and it could be as high as 9.9% for alcohol-related illnesses. So, because as you know, with studies, you have kind of a percentage error and things like that.
So the younger you are, if you're a drinker, you're more likely to have issues.
Well, no, they're the people who died during that time of their life, so 15 to 49 years.
So almost 10% of males died because of alcohol-related issues.
Yeah. Yeah, if you
No, was it
die
under
if you
50,
die
was it?
between 15 and 49, 1 in 10, if you kind of go towards the higher end of the estimation, almost 10% died because of alcohol-related
Wow.
illnesses. Yep. And so it was actually the leading factor of premature death in people 15 to 49 years of age.
Alcohol related.
Yep.
I assume that's probably car accidents is chucked in there as well.
Yeah. So to that, attributed deaths for 15 to 49-year-olds were tuberculosis, we was talking about before.
Wow, that does surprise me, you know.
Yeah, I actually, when I came across that, when I was reading through the study, I was like, wait a minute, what? And I looked it up, and alcohol linked, I put tuberculosis alcohol, and I'm like, holy shit, there's actually studies have actually confirmed a link between the two.
Wow, how bizarre. I wouldn't have thought that. It just must smash up your immune system, and TB, which is pretty common in people's lungs, but our immune system keeps it at bay. It just
obviously.
can't handle it.
Yeah, you're just not treating your body properly, and just... I don't know, would really have to look that up.
Yeah.
Road injuries, and obviously self-harm. Okay? So, which is incredible. Like, that's 10% of people who die, males who die from 15 to 49 years of age, like 1 in 10.
Yeah.
Alcohol-related illnesses.
Yeah. That's pretty sobering, for want of a better term.
Oh, boo! So, it's incredible to think that that's the statistics. Now, okay. In 50 plus, this is another interesting kind of statistic I found. In 50 plus people, all right, in females, 27.1 of alcohol-attributed deaths were cancer in females.
27.1%.
Yeah, 27.1%.
So more than a quarter of all deaths due to alcohol are from cancer.
Yep. So if you made it to 50 and you were a heavy drinker, then of the deaths that alcohol can cause you, 27.1% of that, it's likely that you will get some form of cancer.
So forget glyphosate.
No, forget glyphosate. Yeah,
alcohol's where the cancer's at.
Which is rather interesting because in 18.9% in males, so it dropped to 18.9%. So cancer caused by drinking in males.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's probably got something to do with breast tissue, I would say. Like breast cancer is pretty common in females. It is a growth thing.
Yes,
so when you get
so
older,
is prostate cancer.
Yeah, but men don't go through a thing called menopause where all of our shit starts to freak out either.
Yeah, true.
Our hormones are much simpler. That's right. Our hormones are much simpler than the girls.
Yeah.
We're much simpler creatures.
Yeah. I wonder why men get so grumpy when they're older.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I suppose your balls slap you on the inside of your thigh as you walk. Just gets uncomfortable, and then you're like, I'm just in a bad mood now.
Now, here's the thing. This is the one thing that made all the headlines in regards to this study. Was that before, as I was saying, 1 to 2 glasses of wine, is beneficial, and other studies saying they're not. Well, this larger study that's accounted for these gaps in our understanding and kind of brought it all together. The level that minimized this harm, okay? So if you wanted to kind of get to that level where you're like, no, I can have a drink a night or 2 drinks a night and I'll be sweet, you'll avoid that. The actual level that minimized the harm, zip, zilch, big fat goose egg. Wow. 0. What they're saying is...
Even a tiny little bit of alcohol...
regularly... Not good for you. Yeah, it increases that risk.
Or a massive amount irregularly.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't want to get these things, then don't drink at all. There is no kind of safe amount. The long-term studies are now showing that having a glass of wine a night or whatever is not good for you long-term.
Yeah, okay. That's sad. A lot of people I know will enjoy a glass of wine. My mum used to enjoy a glass of wine every night.
Yeah.
Or bottle,
Whatever. Depends on how a day was.
Yeah.
So there's a range of different things, but then it got me kind of thinking like, well, fuck, like we know this about fatty foods as well. Yet we'll happily stuff our face with fatty foods all the time.
Yeah.
So will this make a difference globally that we know this now? Probably not.
No. No, I still want to be able to dance and play pool.
So the study actually suggests, one of the recommendations by the study is that there needs to be a worldwide focus to minimise drinking. It's like, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, that's right. Although I suppose they did manage to do it with smoking.
Yeah,
they did
but,
reduce
like,
smoking significantly.
But if you think about, though, smoking, I don't know, I'm not a smoker, but drinking gets you drunk. Smoking
Gets you cancer.
gets you cancer. Like, yeah, but smoking just gets, like, it doesn't have that same euphoric feeling.
But
that long-term euphoric feeling. I know
yeah, you're right. There's the
people
addiction thing
yeah.
with smoking. That's what the big thing is with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think I have an addictive personality per se. I think smoking's probably more addictive than alcohol. But having said that, I know there's a lot of alcoholics out there in the world that are addicted to drinking as well.
Well, that's the thing. In regards to all that type of stuff, like we have fast food and things like that. We have all this stuff, and as I've said on the show before, could you imagine if someone came up and said, "I have found the cure for AIDS. I've found a cure for HIV. It's an immunization. Take this." And my friends, no one will get HIV. You would win a Nobel Prize. You would be considered one of the greats of science.
Yeah, you'd go down as a Jonas Salk sort of thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You'd go down at that kind of figurehead. You know, you'd be up there with Einstein and, you know, all that type of stuff. Mary Tyler Moore.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah. There's
Just
one
the
of
wonderful
the
things she
great,
did for science.
Yeah, one of the great figures in scientific advancements. But we know what kills more people than anything. It's heart disease, right? Heart disease because of our diets and lack of
In the
exercise.
Western world.
In the Western world.
Well, developed countries, I should say.
That's right, developed countries. So we know what does that. Scientists have said, look, this is what happens. Like, yeah, but, like, can I get an injection or something like that so I can still continue?
What do you mean
like,
I have to eat vegetables and do exercise?
What do you mean I have to get out there and run around on a field? Like, but we don't do it. We don't eat right. We have this in our grasp as a society. We have the tools that can minimize your chance significantly of cancer, of all these different things. You know, it's just don't smoke, don't drink, don't eat. You know, have a balanced, well-balanced diet and get out there and exercise, and you'll significantly reduce your chances of getting heart disease or some form of cancer.
Multiple diseases.
Yeah, multiple
diabetes,
diseases.
you name it.
You name it. And
stroke, so on and so forth.
Everything.
Everyone's like, I don't know.
Mate.
Just found a good show on Netflix, and it is the $10 pizza night tonight, you know?
$10 pizza? That sounds expensive.
Yeah. For large.
Yeah.
It's actually, no, it's Wednesday now, isn't it? Yeah, that was last night. Dang it. We've missed it. Sorry, mate.
Tight ass Tuesday.
Yeah, well, what do you reckon's the answer then? How do we reduce people's drinking and poor health choices? Do we mandate it? Do we hit them in the hip pocket? There's so many suggestions that have been thrown out there.
Well, that's what we've tried doing in Australia. Remember, with like the taxes on cigarettes now through the roof. Like, what's a packet of cigarettes now?
Oh, $30 plus,
30. Like, that's crazy. I remember my grandpa used to buy them. He was a really heavy smoker. He'd buy them for like $8, $9 a packet or something. Oh,
overseas through Asia, you can get them for like $1.
Yeah.
I think in the US they're about $5 last time I was there. So they're hugely expensive over here.
But
that has brought down smoking in Australia, though.
Yeah.
And our packaging has some of the most amazing deterrents on it. Gangrenous feet.
Gangrenous feet, rotten teeth, some dude who's dying.
Some eyeballs stretched out, yeah.
But aren't they actors? They're all actors, aren't they?
I have no idea. I don't know. I've never really looked into it.
I think they're actors.
I don't know how you could play up a gangrenous foot, though.
Well, same way you play up a decapitated head on a movie. Just put a whole shitload of makeup and some tomato sauce on there. For the gangrenous foot, it would probably be, I don't know, barbecue, I reckon. Mixed with some Worcestershire.
I'm going to make this lamb shank look like a toe.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of the ways you could do it is by taxing. You'd probably fucking tax it. Like, tax the shit out. Like, anything that's good in this country.
Warning labels on cases, could you imagine? Just some fat bastard with rotting liver or something.
I know a few candidates for that photo.
Some guy with his head in the toilet.
Yeah. Yes. Just you know what they could do, and this I reckon would just plummet bourbon sales. Just like a picture of a toilet bowl and a grog bog in it, saying, "This want to buy that pretty girl a drink? She'll be doing this tomorrow morning."
Just a picture of a bed with a really fucking ugly dude or girl in it. Don't do it. You never know where it's going to take you.
But you think about, though, like, the amount of, like, just not with that, but, like, poor decisions people make as well, like, with alcohol. Like, it's not like you need to, that's true. It's not like you need to kind of say, look, you increase your risk of cancer. Like, if you get a cancer, it's 26.1% likely to be, from alcohol and all this type of stuff. It's like, mate...
Hang on a minute. No great stories ever started with, I was sharing a salad with a few mates, okay?
That's true. Man, we aren't supposed to eat so much salad. Tim couldn't even pick himself up off the floor.
While there are a lot of terrible decisions with alcohol, I have to be honest, there's some pretty fantastic ones I've been privy to as well.
But, like, just as a whole, you think about the amount of bad decisions that are made, like people being arrested, harming someone, getting into a fight, screwing up their relationship, like just not even just their intimate relationship, but just like their friendship relationships and stuff like that.
Oh, families.
Mate, honestly, alcohol, I'm not sure it does more good than harm. All right?
Except for our talented dancing ensembles.
Well, no, that's the thing. You'd probably could you imagine?
I know I'm a rubbish dancer, but I don't notice if I'm hammered. That's my point. I feel less self-conscious right now.
How many you reckon wild parties that when you're back at your college university days, you're like, oh man, it was so wild. I reckon if you went back there right now and you were stone cold sober looking at it, you'd be like, this is shit. Like you're about, and it's just everyone just thinks they're having a mate. There's probably not even music on. Everyone's just like people just. Ugly people everywhere. It's not like that, like model kind of.
The conversation you have when you're drunk. Imagine being the sober half and that conversation being like, "Oh my fucking god, will you shut up?"
And then I was like, "Yeah."
One of my friends, he's always the designated driver. He's really good. He's not a massive drinker on him.
He is a hero.
But whenever we go out with a group of mates, he's always in the pokey room by himself. I think we might hit that critical point in the evening where he's like, these guys are just too fucked for me right now. I'm going to go and gamble.
Around. But are you sure he just doesn't have a gambling problem?
I don't know. His gambling habit might have developed because of other people's alcoholism. Who knows?
Once again, negative impact from alcohol. So, yeah. So, look... I'm going to... Look, personally, this study, I'm still going to drink. All right? Just put it out there.
But you never get, I've seen you have a couple too many every now and then, but I've never seen you stumbling, running for a toilet.
No. Not... Yeah. I haven't done that since...
You're punching above your weight with your wife.
Yeah. You're assuming that women would try and hit on me. We both know that's not the case. I have to have a woman hit on me first before I can cheat on my wife.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm saying. It probably wasn't alcoholism that got you your relationship. I think you're doing all right there.
Yeah. See, look, I think anything in moderation, yes, you increase your risk of, but you increase your risk of cancer very, 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 very slightly by having red meat. If you avoid everything that can give you cancer, then you're avoiding pretty much everything.
So, but at the end of it, though, it seems like our love affair with alcohol may have been overstated.
Yes, yeah. And that's one thing as well. Saying that it's good for you, I think, is wrong. People need to know the risks of something before they go into it.
Okay.
And by the way, saying that it's wrong, they weren't to know. In this state, and who knows, there might be another meta-analysis study that finds a different, it comes to a different conclusion, but we won't know that unless we put more money and more time and research into these.
You know what's kind of interesting about this? If we flash back 150, 200 years, drinking beer was actually way safer than drinking water.
Oh, yeah, because of all the microbes and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the fermentation process killed all the microbes. So you could punch down a couple of beers, and they weren't as strong as they are these days. Yeah. Apparently, Benjamin Franklin used to go through 12 pints in a day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But you don't get sick because you're not going to catch, say, cholera or something if you're drinking water from a local pump.
Yeah. Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's funny that alcohol probably came to be so accepted and so important for everyone simply because it was like a way to avoid dying. It's like, I don't die if I drink beer. Now it's got to the stage where we have clean water and we have clean food and everything.
We do die if we drink.
Oh, now we're living to 80 and up. It's probably a significant contributor to a lot of our problems.
Another thing as well, and you'd need to kind of look into the study a bit more and the methodology. But another thing I reckon is that, drinkers die, this and all that type of stuff. But you have to look into like the amount that someone drinks, how regularly they drink, and you could really get some really great information by building on that.
You could probably offset it if they've got like a healthy diet and exercise and other aspects of their life too.
Well, that's exactly right. So like in that kind of Mediterranean diet of, like the seafood and things like that. And, sometimes it can, exactly. You can offset that kind of thing by having certain chemicals. This is what the previous studies were showing that, maybe by having a glass of red wine with a healthy diet, it's actually not bad for you.
Yeah, okay.
These studies kind of come out and said, nah, it's just
have alcohol-free wine.
Yeah, just have alcohol-free wine. You can find that somewhere else without the other kind of long-term kind of side effects.
But it won't get you hammered.
It won't get you hammered. So, look, I think that brings this episode to a wrap.
I think my beer's about to wrap up too, so that's good timing.
I'm about halfway through mine. I've got another half to go.
Yours is a lot bigger than mine.
Yeah, I know. Just like in real
So's your
life.
beer, yeah.
Yeah. And my pants are chafing me too, Bern.
Just going to take them off.
Look, thank you very much for listening, tuning in each week. You have no idea how much we appreciate and are baffled that we get hurt by an audience. Once again, if you have any extra information or you come across studies that like this one, that contradict this one, or come to more conclusive evidence and all that type of stuff, please send them our way. Let us know. Let us know if there's anything in the show that we didn't get right. We're more than happy to hear about that.
Let us know if there's something you want to hear about.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be alcohol related.
You can become a Patreon at patreon.com/Sci-gasm podcast. Likewise, you can just visit our website, sci-gasm.com, and you can find out, go through all our back catalogue of all our episodes and iTunes, all that type of stuff. You can hear us on all the major platforms. And just a quick message to say thank you very much to everyone who helps us out each week with the Patreons. We love you guys so much. So much. And thanks to Frank Aleknowitz this week who introduced the episode.
Yeah, thanks, Frank.
Cheers, guys.